We are fortunate to be at King David's tomb to talk about this week's Seder called Matos. Matos is the war the Jewish people do with Midian, and Moshe Rabbeinu, who decides to take revenge and for the honor of God, and destroys the Midianites, and he had the chance to delay the war with the Midianites, and he was told that the second the war with the Midianites is finished, he finishes his function in the world and he will go to the next world. And he had the choice to delay it because there are many unfinished business that he had to do, or should he do this one thing and then he'll leave? So he had a choice. I'm going to go involved in it. He had a choice between two things. He was on the line that if he had to destroy the Midianites. Well, I'll explain why. He had to destroy the Midianites. He can do it any time he wants. If he'll delay, he's able to improve the quality of the other people, other things, learn more Torah, teach more Torah, maybe help his own son, who knows what, his own children. He had this great lust and passion to live. On the other hand, if he makes it earlier, and he'll do the Midianites, he'll lose that, the passion of life and the need of what he's going to do. Or should he, at this point, for the love of the Jewish nation and the need of the Jewish nation, he should do it now. So he had now the Jewish nation, he disappears, or delay it and do it later. No, listen, you can do it later. This Chazal say, you do it later.
What's the benefit?
The benefit, he can go and take his son, who at the end was not going to be the leader for Klal Yisrael. I'll explain what I mean later here. I'll explain it in 1 minute. There are many things he can. I just want to get to the basic structure. Klal Yisrael, or he can do other things at that moment when he has the love of life. At this point, he picks helping the Jewish nation, and he leaves earlier the world. He leaves exactly. He should leave in 120 years, but he didn't delay it. He could have delayed it. His student Yehoshua sees this, and he has the same chance himself. He has to destroy, the enemies of the Jewish people in Israel, make the ground like the Marines come down and commandos and clean the area, and then the Jewish people are able to live in Israel and get the divided land and have their normal national living life. So Yehoshua, who's a special talmid of Moshe Rabbeinu, who didn't leave earlier out of the Rebbe's house, and wanted to squeeze out entirely what his Rebbe would do. At this point, he split with his Rebbe. He says, Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, although he has love for Klal Yisrael, and he's selfless, but he made a mistake. He should have continued for another 10 years, and then he would have done 100 times more. He would have brought the Jews to Israel, and then we let Israel never been destroyed. The first temple, the seventh temple will never be destroyed if he lived longer. He could have increased the quality of the living and the life of every Jewish person spiritually and holiness. And had he lived a little longer, he could have done 1 billion times more. Okay? In other words, what is more valuable for Klal Yisrael? On one side, to do the war of Midian, and he leaves right away, or to handle other problems and other things that will also have tremendous great value. What should he do? And therefore, when Yehoshua went to conquer Israel, he says, I'm going to delay a little, because there's such a need to help these Jewish people to get together. They have these fights, they have these internal dissension. a civil rivalry between one tribe and another tribe, so I have to stay along. So he delayed the conquering of Israel. Because he delayed, Hashem said, Bud, you thought you learned from your Rebbe and you're proving from your teacher Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm taking 10 years away from your life. So he thought to extend his life, because and he said his Rebbe should have extended his life, and he thought he's improving on what his Rebbe did, and he held his Rebbe was wrong, but he couldn't argue with his Rebbe, Moshe Rabbeinu. And because he said that, he thought he was smarter than his Rebbe Samuel, and what happened there? He lost 10 years of his life. So you have to understand what took place in the dynamics here and there. And then I want to get to the real point. This is easy to say, but then I have a chidush niflad mode on top of it, which is the dialogue between Hashem and Moshe Rabbeinu, which we'll discuss right away. And from here comes out a chidush niflad mode. It's just worthwhile just to hear this chidush. But let's first get the background of what the story is. The story runs that Moshe Rabbeinu was already 80 when he took the Jewish people out of Israel, when he got the Torah, he had the miracles, and now he 40 years in the desert, that's 120, a person lives 120, and now he's going to leave the world. So at this point, the end of a person's lifetime, it's called, in English, it's called, you got to get together your old business, you have to face your reality and get your act together before you leave. So people write wills, they got to take care of the kids, they got to if they have to do any tshuva, they do tshuva, they got to, in other words, the person just before he goes, he should prepare himself, because it says, we learned yesterday by Shas Cohen, that really there's a din chorus. Chorus means a person there's 36 averos that a person gets chorus, and it means his life is cut. Some people say if he dies before 60. Other people say if he dies quickly. Unless after 80, it's not called quickly. So therefore, why if you die quickly? So I explain, Rabbi Goldstein explained that why quickly. Because if a man dies quickly, he can't leave the world without fixing his own business. He has loose ends, he didn't tie it together, and he has to do his loose ends. He has to make sure his kids get the money, he'll make sure that he has to teach this kid, he has to do tshuva, he has to apply Yisrael, he has to finish off his old business. So really, before Moshe Rabbeinu had to die, he had to do old business. What was his old business? He has to go and in his lifetime, there was Midian that was there, and the Midianites sent out their beautiful girls and caused the Jewish people to sin. So the old business is, for the honor of the Jewish people and of God, he has to fight against the Midianites in order to clear up and make justice, the Yom Adin, for the Midianites, to make sure that the honor of God comes back. He has to destroy them. The honor of the sins they did for the Jews, the love of the Jewish people, he has to destroy them. So his old business, he has to now, as a leader, destroy the Midianites. That's called old business. There's other old business that they have, which is old business that they have. He has to maybe take care of the son who was not, they didn't become the leader of Klal Yisrael. Another son that went off the way. He had all kinds of things that happened, and he had to maybe elevate the quality of the people, and he had to talk to them, and if people felt depressed, Maraglim, the new generation he had to work with, and he could learn more Torah, teach more Torah. So he had a lot of work to do. And on such a degree that Yehoshua criticizes Rabbi and says, I'm not going to do what he does, because how much more he could have done had he lived longer. He had Moshe was taken out of life too early, so to speak, before his time. And he caused the trouble himself. He caused the trouble on himself, that he left early. He had the free choice. He could have extended his life and increased the quality he should have been. He could have put the Jews in Eretz Israel, and then with the destruction of the first temple, the second temple. He could have done so many great things. So he held the judgment was wrong. He caused his own death by what? exerting himself at an age of 120, and he knew right away his life would be taken away. He had so much more to do in life. He had so much more creativity, great things he could have brought to the world. He just brought it closer. See, because of that he criticized. Yet Moshe Rabbeinu, we see at the end, his decision was correct. His decision was correct. That what? That he had the right to take. He should take his and do this in front of him. But we find in Chazal a lot of dialogues between him and Hashem. I'll tell you a few of them. But at the end, I want to get to the main one. And the main one has a Chiddush Nifla, it's a tremendous Chiddush. One dialogue between Hashem and Moshe. Moshe says, listen, I worked so hard, I was selfless in helping the Jewish people. What did I do? I took the Jews out of Egypt. You said they had the Egel, that was the golden calf, and what did they say by the golden calf? And I said, God was ready to destroy the Jewish people. And I say, look, and he said, I'll make you a whole nation from you. You'll be the big shot. From you, instead of obviously, you'll be the beginning. He says, no way. Erase my name from the books. I gave my life. I didn't even stay with my wife where Miriam and Aaron spoke Lashon Hara about him. You're a leader. Why don't you stay with your wife? Why aren't you living normal life? He says, I can't because I'm waiting for the Shekhinah every moment. I didn't live a normal life when I became a leader. And yet, I did all these things. So why can't you grant me the ability to come to Eretz Yisrael? What did I do wrong? Okay, I did it wrong, son. Let me go to Eretz Yisrael. Okay, let me go as an animal. So I'd be able to see the beautiful fruits of Israel. Enjoy the air. Avir the Eretz Yisrael Machan, the air of Israel. Makes you smart. The land is holy. Let me just see the land. Let me touch the land. Let me feel the seed, even as an animal. Let me just enjoy it. But Hashem said, no way. No way. And Moshe Rabbeinu has this dialogue between him and Hashem. And we see that Moshe Rabbeinu has a tremendous desire to live life. Why live life? Because in life, it says, it's better this world to have the ability to Torah mitzvahs than all the next world. Why? Because in this world, you can do things. You can do mitzvahs. You can do something. Over there you can't do. You only get your reward. So it's better to be in this world than all the pleasure of the next world. Because the next world, you're only getting your reward. But in this world, I can do something. I have the ability to do. There I'm passive. Only going to get pleasure from the Zimah Shechina. So it's better to be in this world 1 hour and do mitzvahs than all the next world. So give me a chance to be in this world. He had the passion to live. He had the passion he understood the importance of the world. He understood the importance of who he was and what he was. He says, give me a chance, even as an animal, because the animals also every day sing praises to the Almighty. Every day the animals sing songs to Hashem. So what's the problem? They sing songs to Hashem. So let me at least get that passion of life. Of life, not that you can passion of life means I have sex and I have food and I have more food and a bigger food. How much can a guy eat? How much can he eat? The multi-billionaires, there's supposed to be 500 billionaires in the world. Okay, how much can they eat? Okay, you got 6 billion, 20, who can eat more than you eat? They make a little egg a little fancier. Instead of an egg, they'll have asparagus in the summer, the winter, they'll have strawberries, they say, in the winter, the summer. What can they eat? What can they do? It's made a French way, it's an Italian way. What's the difference? It looks better. They'll have a music playing, somebody dancing. Who knows what they can do? But at the end, there's the same food, the same bed. What are you going to do? A better bed, a water bed. What are you going to do? What can you do? What can you do? What is it? Nothing. So therefore, he wanted to get the passion of living. But living means him not the eating and the sleeping. Means he has the ability that God granted him as an image of God to be able to do the mitzvahs, to do his commandment. Even as an animal, an animal also sings praises to Hashem. There, what's going to happen? He's just getting reward. So he had this passion of living a spiritual, even as an animal, I'll get something out of an animal. God says no. Okay. He understands it. Why? I'll explain in a minute. But he has this dialogue. And now he has a dialogue. Now he goes and God says that you have to take The nikma, the Torah says, the nikmas b'nei Yisrael me'es ha-binyamin. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to take revenge for the Jewish people against the Midyanim. And then I will take you away. And Moshe says, Lo seis nikmas Hashem b'Midyan. Again, Hashem says what? Why are you taking revenge? For the honor and dignity of the Jewish people, what they did wrong. And Moshe says, we have to do it for the dignity of God. So here's what make it, get it. He says the Jewish people, and then God says Jewish people, and he says for God. I mean, you got to get together. Now the same thing is found in the Almighty has a pair of tefillin. What is in the Almighty's tefillin? We have tefillin Shema Yisrael Hashem Eloheinu Hashem Echad, the oneness of God. We love God with all our heart, with all our soul. And what is in the tefillin of Hashem? God wears tefillin, right? What does it say? Mi kamocha. But mi kamocha. He was like the Jewish people. So God talks about the Jewish people, and Jewish people talks about the oneness of God. So what's happening here? This is found in many chazals and many stories. So what transpired at this point? And here I want to explain the Chiddush Niflad mode. I'm just saying it quickly so you should hear it if you have to go. Now I'm going to elaborate. If you put on the stake what took place in Moshe Rabbeinu's valued decision of Ahavas HaChaim, the love of life, which means doing mitzvahs and Torah, the passion of the importance of life compared to the next world, when you're doing all these great deeds, even as an animal breathing there and singing praise Hashem, which already next world doesn't exist, or the love of the Jewish people. You put on the weight, what happened? So Moshe paid the love of the Jewish people, which is the honor and dignity of Jewish people. But when he did the act, listen carefully, here's the switch, carefully, gentlemen. When he did the act, what did he do? He did it for the love of God, for the name of God. So you have a kind of love of God, Jewish people, what's happening over there? So here I want to explain a Chiddush, a very big point. This you have to hear. I'll repeat it many times, but I'll explain it many ways. But I just want you to hear the Chiddush. Avram Avinu emulated the Almighty. We talked about he emulated God. God is merciful. He's merciful. He's kind. And therefore he's kind to every human being. Arabs and Jews. And guy was an idol worship. He washed his feet. He opened doors for every fadal. Everybody comes. Good. So therefore, every human being, you're supposed to love every human being as a human being. You're a human being, love every human being. So what's special about Ahavas Yisrael, the love of the Jew? Is the love of the Jew just another type of loving every human being? And why do you love Jews? Because you're a Jew, so you got to love Jews. You're in this club called Jews. And this is like your own kind. I love my children because they're me. So me, I. So I love myself. I love them. And really, what is love really? Love is a selfish part. It makes you feel good. It's for yourself. It's an expression of self, so that's a very thing. So you're doing it for yourself. It's a good feeling. You feel good. It's the right thing. So what's happening over here? So you have to explain that the love of the fellow man. We say Avram Avinu emulated Hashem, and if he loved human beings, he loved human beings. By the non-Jew, it's called Chesed Le'umim Chatas. Listen to this, Ray. When a non-Jew does chesed, kindness, we say it's what? It's a sin. Why? Because he does it for himself. When it comes to push and shove, why is he doing it? He enjoys it for himself, self-gratification, he needs it, whatever may be the pleasure, pain. Because why should he do it? It's a self-fulfillment. Kindness for a non-Jew, even for a lot of Jews who aren't religious, we'll see are also self-fulfillment. That's their personality, we're trained, whatever you want to say. That's called chatas, that's called sin. The kindness and chesed of Avram Avinu was a little different. He loved every human being. And King David right here, we're talking about King David, he prayed for Jews and non-Jews. Right? That's why King David's Psalms, everybody prayed for Jews, you pray for non-Jews, pray for the world. Sick people, happy people. This is the power of Jewish people also pray for everybody. So what's special about Ahavas Yisrael, the love of Israel? You have to love every human being. Everybody is a creation of God. If everybody's a creation of God, you have to love everybody. What's the difference? What's special about loving Israel? So we have to say, this is the Chiddush Nifel, there's another dimension called loving. It's not because you're in the group and you belong to the Jewish people group and you're in the group, then maybe you pray for yourselves and it's not a self-fulfilling idea. Not true. What is the quality the Jew has that the Goy doesn't have? That's called Hashkocha Pratis. Personal care, the Almighty cares for every single Jew. By Goyim, it's in general. You pray general, it's like in the general box. There's laws out for everybody. But for every Jew, there's what? Hashkocha Pratis. Personal, everybody. Hashkocha Pratis. Let's hear it. Hashkocha Pratis. Hashkocha would mean personal guidance. Prati is private. Hashkocha is guidance, special care of each Jew. So now we have a very big difference. Here's a big difference. The world feels, even the religious world feels, and the whole group of Jews, I can't mention names, feel there's a thing called Avas Yisrael, the love of Israel. And they feel that it's separate from, there's Avas and loving God, and there's loving the Jewish people, and loving the land, and loving God, and loving the Torah, the Jewish people, God, the Jewish people, Torah, and Israel. Those are the four things. And they feel that each one is separate. So there's certain parties that came to Israel, love of Israel, Israel. The socialists, and this, Israel, love of Israel. There's a Mizrahi party, comes in and says, love of the Jewish people. You have love of the Jewish people. Right? Then the religious people come in and say, love of Torah. And then the Hasidim come in and the love of God. Each one holds it's a separate entity, and the answer is what? They're no separate entity. And here's the trick to this. It's only, this is the Chiddush, it's only, I heard this, it's only if you have, when you have the love of God, and you have the love of the Torah, I'll explain to you why, it's only then can you have love of Israel, the Jewish people. It doesn't work any other way. And this was the argument I'm going to explain between Moshe Rabbeinu and Hashem. I want to explain it again. Really, basically, Hashem has no ego, nothing. So what is he doing it? He has nothing. He loves the Jewish people. He loves human beings. Why does he love Jewish people? Especially because he gives special grace. Hashkocha Pratis to every Jew. Okay? Hashkocha Pratis to every Jew. So therefore, right? Therefore he says, you got to do it for the Jewish people. God can't say he's doing it for himself. He has no self. That's for the Jewish people. Now, when Moshe Rabbeinu is doing it, what is he doing it for? The love of God. But I just said before, Moshe Rabbeinu did it for the love of the Jewish people. That's what it says. The answer is what? Because when you love God, the way to love God is what? To do what He loves. If He loves every human being, like by Avinu, you have to love every human being. But since He has a special hashkocha, special love for the Jewish people, so therefore you need a special love for every Jew. Catch him on. So Avas Yisrael is not just I love you. I be kind to people, nice and humane, and just like the left talk about. It means that you must see in every Jew the beauty, the greatness, the hashkocha, the guidance I have from every single Jew. It's another dimension beyond every human being. They love you. We love you in general as a person, as who you are. When I give him a kiss, I have to think of him, okay? And not only as a human being, which I have to love as a human being, I have to look at him that since God has a special quality that He gave him, has a special gift, he's like a king. He has his princess. So he has a child that's very smart. She'll look at you, respond to you, but look at the extra quality has her smartness, or extra quality of kindness. So you give that extra love to the kid because you know he has a special quality, right? So therefore, it's our job in Avos by loving God. I'll explain it all the time. When you love God, you have to love what He loves. He loves every human being. You can't say, I love God and I hate people. I love God and I don't do justice. I love God and I'm not kind. It doesn't work. That was Avinu. He loved God, and he loved every human being. He cared about everybody. He cared about the snow nights and this, and he wanted to help the world. But once the Jewish nation came into being, there's a new concept of the love of the Jew. Why love you? They're special. Each person is beautiful. Each one has kindness. So therefore, if I love God, and I look at you, I have to say, what's special about you? What's special? After years, you came back to Tziyon, right? After years of hard work, fighting. You know what my son says about you? You study, you become a big time. My son has an eye like nothing like it. I have two children that said the same thing. They never talk about other guys here. Right, Samuel? They don't talk about you, but they talk about him. He's already much older than you. Because he has certain qualities that if he builds on, he become a gadol Israel. He has to do the work, even at old age. You understand? So everybody has special qualities. If I know the special qualities, I'm excited. Every Jew. And you may have special qualities. And you also have special schwartz. And you also, everybody has their special qualities. Even a minute ago. What do you have? Not business and money. In Torah learning, and spirituality and holiness you have to give to the world. So at that point, how do I treat every Jew? In a different way. That's obviously Yisrael. So now we have another trick. There's one more point I have to tell you, and then I'm going to go over this again a little better, more detail, and you're ready. Now, in order to get rid of the I, which you said originally that love has to do with self-fulfillment, your personal self, and you say, how do you get rid of the I in the love to be pure? Only through Torah. Again, by learning the Torah, you have to love God and learn the Torah. By learning the Torah, because it says, I created the Yetzer Hara, I created evil inclinations. And the way to fight it is what? But I created Torah Tavlin, I created Torah, which is a spice which somehow deadens or seasons or changes the bitter part of the Yetzer Hara. So you must have Torah. So how do you get rid of the I? By learning Gemara and Torah. But only in depth. Without depth, it doesn't work. It's not a magical formula. It's a way of changing one's whole being and getting rid of the I and being pure. And you say, well, every religious guy does it. It's not true. A lot of people may be smart, etc. But they have to, with Torah, it has to be with God-fearingness. Not with people, not frumkai, not religiosity, but real relationship, you and God. And you got to be pure. Otherwise, you can't learn the Torah. How are you getting close to God? Understand what He wants to say and have the same vibrations and the same wavelength. If what? If you're not pure and holy, and you're not have God feeling, you not have a relationship in the learning. Not this learning. You got a good head, right, Yaakov? It's more than that. It's your relationship to God. So at that point, when you learn the Torah, you get rid of the I in the Ava, and then by loving God, and you have the Torah, which purifies you. At that point, you can have Ahavas Yisrael. You can have the love of Israel. The Mizrahi party makes a mistake in Ahavas Yisrael alone. Those who belong to the Marach feel they can have love of Israel without God and the Torah. The other people believe they can have just Torah and forget about love of Israel and the love of God. You know, love of God, they remember, they forget about Israel and being man and man. But God put all four, but there's a different relationship between the four. It's not, well, it's all together. How does it work together? It's really Avos Hashem. When you love God, then you purify yourself through the learning of Torah. If you love God, you have to, it says, the love letters of God is the Torah. So if you really love God, every word, every drop is like love letters. You'll read it. Every word you give a kiss, it has value, it has meaning. Not quick and fast, slow, every word. Imagine getting a letter from your girlfriend and your love. How many times you read that letter? Or you get a letter that you made just $1 billion and they're giving you a Yerusha of $1 billion. How many times you read that letter? How many times you look at that letter? More than once. You're trying to read it over to make sure it's written right, write the signatures. You go over it again. You don't get sick reading that letter. Same thing as you really love God and the Torah is love letters. It has all the energy, all the pep you want. You never get tired from it. You reminisce. It's your jewelry box. It's your pictures. It's wonderful experiences. And at this point, it removes the I, and then you're able to have, since God loves, you love God, and you learn the Torah to purify it, which is love letters, then at that point you're going to have Ahavas Yisrael. when you have Avos Yisrael, and then only then can we really settle the land. Because in the land is the place where all these three parts come together in a mokum, in a place. Place is a reality. Until then, it's lopsided. It's in Europe, it's in America, it's who knows, even in Israel, in the Galil, in the kibbutz, who knows where it is. But you have to have all these three to unite together in the mokum, which is again the Shekhinah, the Beis Hamikdash that will come. So now we have a big Kiddush. The big Kiddush is that, and here's another Kiddush, that's one Kiddush. Between Avinu and Avos Yisrael, which is a new dimension, a beautiful Jew, Yaakov. Now I want to tell you a Kiddush. Why can I give Yaakov a Kiddush? Why? Why? I'll tell you why. Listen carefully. He's a Baal Avera, he's a bum, he doesn't do all the mitzvahs. Why can I give him a Kiddush? I'll tell you. Because if the Yesod, the foundation of Avos Yisrael is that God has Hashgacha Pratis, private guidance, every Jew. Does you have Hashgacha Pratis? Sure, right. He helps you do the wrong things, he takes care of everyone, you do the wrong things, he saves you. So every Jew has Hashgacha Pratis. So therefore, how should I relate to the Jew? How God relates to him. I love God after. So therefore, I can give a kiss to every Jew. Why? Why? Ben, even you. Why? So I want to emulate God. I can kiss you. I can even kiss you. Even you. Right? You got that? And that's even you Philo. Because I see you Hashgacha Pratis. I see you have what's called the Pintali. That's all air. They don't know what they're talking about. Pintali is. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with, that's just a common sales pitch that they have in the world. But it really means that every Jew, God has Hashgacha Pratis, and everybody has personal guidance, and he takes personal care. So then if you love God, you have to love this person. But not because of yourself, because you get rid of the I and learning the Torah and you're able to do it. They have no problem. That's why Rabbi Goldstein can open the door and invite everybody in. All the derelicts, all these guys. God keeps him alive. He's good. When he gets bad, let God punish him. I'm not a judge. Let me just do the work. So because of that, I just want to show you a difference of the relationship of the parts, which is a very, very important understanding of Hashgacha. So now we come to a very important piece, another piece, and we're near the end, which is what? What did Moshe Rabbeinu do at this point? Why did Moshe Rabbeinu take it? So you got to say that what? That he decided, he made a decision that it's important right now to help Klal Yisrael. Important. But Moshe Rabbeinu had bitachon, faith in God. He doesn't have to worry about the future. God runs the world, take care of the world. He's only a shliach of God. He's not the manager. He's not the boss. He's only a worker. So therefore he does his job what's right, and he leaves up to God. He has no problem. So if God says do this now, even though I don't like to do it, I want to do it, I do it. No problem. But Yoshua, what about Yoshua? He thinks he's a manager. He thinks he's a leader. He thinks he's controlling. He's the father of a family. If the father doesn't do the job, all the kids will go to pot. If I don't do this, which is on my God, if I don't do it, it won't happen. Okay, it's true if you do it, it'll be done. But if you don't do it, it may not be done. But you're not the boss of the world. You don't know how the world works. But Yeshua thought he became partners with God in the world, missing bitachon, and therefore he criticized his Rabbi who had 100% bitachon, and he decided what? To make a value judgment to help out Klal Yisrael more, which it definitely was needed, gentlemen. Don't think it wasn't needed. It's needed, and his sign of Avos Yisrael is by extending his life. But really, in truth, it wasn't that way. That's how he pictured and valued his Avos Yisrael. Let's talk now about Moshe Rabbeinu. We need to hear. Moshe Rabbeinu. I said to you when I started this story that he was on the line. He was a high achiever. What was on the line of Moshe Rabbeinu? What was the outcome that came out when Moshe Rabbeinu decided that he's going to not extend his life, the life of passion, the life of mitzvahs, bigger than Olam Haba, and he's going to have the war of Midian, even though his life could have been extended, do it right now. What was at stake? Okay, we explained the love of Israel, love of God, and it was the right thing because the honor and dignity of God had to be above himself, and he realized this is the thing he had to do. And I said to you that was the old business that he had to work out, and he had to do the old business to make sure it would happen, because just like he saw there was going to be a leader after, which is Yeshua, just like he saw that he organized what he had to organize before he left to the world, as much as he could in the quick time that he did it. He said over in Devarim the whole Torah again, and he made sure he had 12 Sefer Torahs in each one. He definitely told the people Musa, he told off, he did his job in the last day, but he did his job, he wound up as much as he could. He could have done 100 times more and better any longer time, but he did whatever he could on the period of time. Man, at this point, what did he do? He now showed who he was. If I asked you, what is Moshe? Show me an example of Moshe Rabbeinu. Show me an example of Moshe Rabbeinu. Maybe Moshe Rabbeinu did things for power, for glory. He has a trip for power. We'll analyze his personality, what a psychologist, a philosopher, and we'll find sociology, and maybe it's the power, maybe his self-gratification, maybe he needed, who knows what, in his youth, his father beat him up, and he needs now, he had depression, all the stories about his youth, and now he needs this for his personality growth, and he needed to show off, who knows what, whatever it may be. But what do we see at the end? Moshe Rabbeinu is what? He loves God to the degree that he's ready to, and he has the pureness of learning the Torah, the Har Sinai 40. In the 40 years in the desert, he taught the Torah, he got rid of that eye, and he was able to do a pure act by loving God, removing to have Avas Yisrael. That the Avas Yisrael, and that them every Jew, and the covet of every Jew, the honor and dignity of a person is the person. What is character? You have dignity. You're a human being. Dignity of a Jewish person. These people, not anger, not revenge, but it's the expression of the dignity of the Jew, what he represents, and that was the most important. He had to bring that dignity and that greatness to the world, which shows he was a selfless servant of God. He was ready. He gave up his own passion of living. He could have done it another way. And if I say to you, depict for me Moshe Rabbeinu. So I'll only say the words of Yeshua when he died. He said 2 words at the eulogy, basically. Eved Hashem. He was a servant of God. And he had that, because he had the love and the zest for the Jewish nation. That special quality of love of every Jew, and the Jews in the unit. When you love somebody, you care about their dignity and their honor. And that's what he did in the fight. Fixed it up, and if I say you show me the fruits of after 120 years of living, show me the man, show me his deeds. I now show you the fruits. I have a ground, I have a tree, I have branches, I have leaves. Show me now the fruits. And Moshe Rabbeinu shows his fruits, which is to identify himself, who he is. See, if I want to identify who I am or what I am, there's only one thing to do. I must now act for the dignity of Jewish people. This is me. It's not only God says kill the Midianites, and since I got to listen to God, I have a question. Listen to God. I take care of myself. Oh God, what do I got to do with it? No, it was since he was a leader, he had in him the ability to go forward. He wasn't afraid of running away from a situation. He faced his realities. He was able to cutting edge there and say, this is me, and according to who I am, this is what I got to do. And who is he? A man who loves God with a treble fervor, and he learns the Torah, tremendous energy, he got rid of the eye, and he was able to have the pureness of love of every Jew, of the Jewish nation, and get their dignity back. That was his real act. And this represents himself, who Moshe Rabbeinu was. So it comes to himself. Of course, this is the way he expresses it. He was on the line, who you are, and who he was. And who he was what? An Eved Hashem. And he showed it what it was. And that was his decision. Okay?